Welcome everyone to the 3-day international virtual workshop on research methodology and research writing, jointly organized by Lab Literary Club India, CAB Common Trust, and Malaysian Industrial Relations and Human Resource Association Malaysia. Today is the second day. Today we have two speakers. First speaker, Dr. Anita Banerjee, Professor, Department of Basic Science and Humanities, University of Engineering and Management, New Town, Kolkata. And second speaker, Professor Dr. Balakrishnan Parasuraman, Professor, Human Resource Management and Labor Relations, Faculty of Entrepreneurship and Business, University Malaysian Kelantan, Malaysia, President, MIRHC Malaysia, Patron Laboratory Club, India. Dear participants, we are moving to the first session, and our speaker is Dr. Anita Banerjee completed her PhD in the year 2012 from Calcutta University with specialization in the fields of Indian writing in English, eco-criticism, and environmental sustainability, post-colonial literature studies, folk literature, and folk narratives. She has been the recipient of both international and national awards for pursuing her research for excellence. Her keen interest in attaining academic excellence keeps her spirit motivated to achieve and explore more. We are very glad to have you, ma'am. And hand over the session to you.
Yeah.
This session is.
Thank you so much. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You are audible.
Okay, thank you so much. At the very onset, I would like to thank the organizers for giving me the platform to share with all my learned friends a very basic but a very pertinent topic which most of us would deal in our research methodology and research scope. Before going into the details of my topic, I would just try to give you a brief outline about what am I going to speak to you in a very brief span of time. Now, whenever we think of doing a research, we divide the research into various parameters. It can be uh, research based on facts, it can be research based on data, it can be research theoretical, it can be research experimental, it can be on facts, figures, and data analysis. But one very essential component of the research criteria, which we try to do in a senior level, is the case study research criteria. Now, case study research is a very pertinent research which has a scope and expression in the field of research when you are analyzing or when you are given a scope to analyze a case and then make the deductions. So, because case study research is not in much vogue like the previous aspects of research which I described to you all, today in a very brief narrative, I will try to justify and explain to you the nature of case study research. So, with your due permission, my dear learned friends, I would start sharing my screen. Start with the benefits of a case study. Okay, okay. So before I go to the benefits, let me define to you what do you understand by a case study. Now, case study research is a method that is an empirical inquiry that investigates a contemporary phenomenon within its real life context when the boundaries between the phenomenon and context are not clearly evident and in which multiple sources of evidences are used. Now, this is a definition I have taken from the famous author Yen, and it's found in page 23 to quote it in a very specific manner, where we see that it is an empirical inquiry. For example, if we take a case study, for example, suppose we want to do a case study on the market employability of Maruti India Limited. a very common car segment, and we want to do a case study on the employability index of Maruti India Limited. So, initially, what we are doing is that we are making an empirical inquiry, which in due course of time is going to investigate a contemporary phenomenon. So, what is a contemporary phenomenon we are trying to address? The contemporary phenomenon is the employability index. Employability index deals with the employer, the scope of employability skills used in Maruti industry to the limit of attrition as well as to the limit of retention. So, what is attrition? How many people are leaving the job? How many people are being retained in the job? So, in order to make this comparison between the two extremes, we need to address an empirical inquiry, which is going to be a contemporary phenomenon questioning about the employability index of Maruti Udyog India Limited. And then coming to the next line, it says that when the boundaries between the phenomenon, that is the employability index, and the context is the Indian scenario, which is not clearly evident and which multiple sources of evidences are used. So, to range or to discuss the employability scope of Maruti India Limited, we need to use multiple sources of evidence to prove to the fact of what is the exact employability index of the institute or of the organization. So, what are the issues of the case study? Okay, issues of the case study relates to studying a small number of cases is insufficient for establishing reliability or generality of findings. Case study can never be microscopic. One point which we need to keep in mind as we are developing our research methodology is that when we are thinking of doing a case study, it has to be on the macrocosmic level. That's why you see, when I have taken a very basic topic, the employability of Maruti India Limited, we are using two broader aspects, the retention parameter and the attrition parameter. Next comes the intense involvement of the researcher in the field of the study without the biasness of the findings. Now, case study has got one of its segment as a very durable one is the biasness. Suppose when I'm making a case study on any issue, if I feel that I am biased towards the findings and I would like to protrude the findings in a different angle, my biasness towards the findings would indicate the subdivisional parameter of my inclination towards the subject. When I'm doing a case study, because I am the sole author of the entire research propriety, I should have a total non influential eye to the concept to which I am trying to establish. Suppose you see, when I'm talking about Maruti Udyog India Limited, if I have in the back of my mind that there are competitors like Hyundai, there are competitors like Tata, and I am more acclaimed towards Tata. What I'll try to do is that in my research case study, I would try to show that the attrition is higher than the retention. So the moment I'm doing that, what am I doing is that my case study is oriented towards a partial impact. Clear? Coming to the next point is that some critics suggest case study research is useful only as an exploratory tool or for establishing a hypothesis. Because case study research has got this disadvantage, many people are not very formal with the acceptance of case study research. That is why when I started speaking on the topic, I tried to make it very clear that case study research stands offbeat in comparison to the experimental research, in comparison to the theoretical, analytical data analysis, case study research stands offbeat because it is more of being being used as an exploratory tool. It can be used as a tool to find out the real cause, and that cause is also based on hypothesis. And because, as you know, my dear friends, it is based on hypothesis, it may be claimed as unscientific. Now, what are the benefits of case study? Okay. Now, the benefits of the case study, which I personally would try to highlight, is that it is actually a field study. Because when you are making a case study on any concept, unless your field activity is very clear, it is very up to the mark, you will not be able to justify and answer the question why. And because you are answering the question why, you need to gain an in depth understanding of a particular phenomenon. Because you are trying to establish the causal effect, the cause and the effect together, you need to make an in depth analysis which should pertain to the answering of your question why, how, and when. Now, in order to develop the case study on why, how, and when, we need to develop an initial hypothesis. What is this hypothesis? We make our own ejection. We make our own analysis and we try to measure the parameter of the analysis based on our own assumption. We study the entire employability index of Maruti Udyog Limited, but that is also based on initial hypothesis. We need to frame out the area from which we are going to divide and subdivide the core topics. When we are speaking about the employability index, when we are speaking about the retention quality, we need to divide the parameter of the retention quality into sub and subcategories to answer to each and every question of why. Likewise, when we speak about the attrition one, that also needs to be subjugated. So, what happens is that when this initial hypothesis is being structured, gradually the broader base comes towards a tapering. And as we come towards the tapering, we find the establishment of a basis for future research. This hypothesis or this baseline or this level of research activity would gradually form the baseline for our future research, future scope of revival. We get to know the ifs and the buts, the positives and the negatives, based on which the future research of the concerned organization can be made. Because when you submit this case study to the specific organization, they will also try to understand the parameters of their success and well as their failure. So, my dear friends, when you're doing a case study research, be very careful to frame an impartial viewpoint. Clear? Next is developing of new theories. So, as we are framing the future scope of research, case study research is the research which gives you the scope to develop your new theories. Theories concerning the mass, theory concerning the movement, theory concerning the employability skills, theory concerning the rate of attrition, anything which you need to subjugate by your own framing of mind requires to be developed with a theory. So you see, first you frame the hypothesis. Once the hypothesis is framed, it forms the future research scope. Future research scope helps in developing new theories, likewise extend existing theories. Because in the previous slide, as I've shown you, we have spoken, just if I come to the very first slide, yes, when I come to the very first slide, it says that it is the boundaries between the phenomenon and the context. So, actually, when we are able to draw the boundaries between the phenomenon, the actual and the actual and the real. Actual is something which we are framing, and real is what is in context. This helps in developing the case study background. So it helps in existing extension of the existing theories, and at the end test the existing theories. The mass attrition theory, the theory pertaining to the level of population explosion. Why is there so much of job attrition? One reason is to the population theory, one reason is to the skill set theory. So, what are we trying to do is that we try to establish our hypothesis using the testing of the existing theories. Coming to the next slide. Here I have said that how many cases, it says that Eisenhower suggests that from 4 to 10 is ideal. Ideal cases, case studies that we try to perform or we try to execute, out of which 4 to 10 is only an ideal one. There are so many case studies subjugated, but in real life, it is only that is about 4 to 10 that has the ideal application. And what does Yen and Stake suggest? That one can be acceptable, only one. So, out of so many case studies that you try to substantiate through your research, only one, because that actually subjugates your notion of your establishing the concept and the phenomenon in the real life scenario. Clear? And the last is the key is to justify your choice. But ultimate, whether it is 4 to 10 or whether it is single, it is your ideal which will justify your choice. You are the sole authority to subjugate and justify your choice. Now comes the stages for developing a case study. Now, what are the stages? First of all, as we have all said, that case study determines the question why, how, when. So, as it is related with these features, you see, it helps in determining the research questions, framing of the research questions. If you are having a bigger topic, it is at your cause to generate the topic into subdivisional level where you are able to determine your own research topic. For example, as I said, that let's take another example. The CSR of Tata Group, as we all know, Tata Group is well known for its philanthropy. So you have decided to make a case study research on the CSR projects of Tata Group. Now, when you are framing the research question, the first question that it should come in your mind is that in which segment are you going to segregate the CSR corporate policy of Tata Group? It can be in hospitality, it can be in humanitarian ground, it can be in philanthropy, and even it can be in the mission of pet saving, because Ratan Tata is known for his animal love. You see, so it is the various segments to which your research question is to be framed. Now, it is up to your discretion that what is going to be your criteria for framing the research question. Next, once you have framed the research question, it is to decide if the case study is appropriate. Now, once you have framed the research question, you are to describe to yourself that whether you will be able to frame the case study. Because, in the long run, if you are unable to frame the research question, or the case study, it will at a time be totally thwarted. It will be unable to move as you have no more other probing areas to delve into. Excuse me. Next, excuse me, in order to make your case study appropriate, you need to decide how many cases will be appropriate to subjugate your cause. It can be an analysis of a single case, or it can be multiple cases joined together to form the single case. Be it singular or be it plural, case studies are always at your choice to make it appropriate. That's why you see in the very first initial layout, I said that case studies can be partial. It is your own inclination. If you want to highlight the philanthropy of Tata Group more than the any other CSR projects of the same group, your influential, your likeness will be definitely projected if you are not sure of why you are determining the research question. Clear? Next comes select the cases and determine data gathering and analysis techniques. The very first thing I had said when I had started the discussion. The discussion which says that it should determine the data gathering. It should be in the process effective in gathering the data material. Otherwise, what happens is that if you are not sure about the projection value of the data and the likewise analysis techniques, the case study will again be stopped at the middle. because whatever data you are going to give in, that requires enough of the repulse to develop it into a further exploratory tool or technique to analyze the cause. As I had said in the previous slide, you see it is the development of new theories, followed by extending of new theories and the testing of the existing theories. Next is preparation to collect data, very important, and the data in the field. That's why I had said that case study is a data collection in the field study. You need to be present yourself in the field in order to draw your conclusion to what you are trying to establish. Clear? Evaluate and analyze the data. You see, it is all related to your self exploratory. Everything is to your self expression. How are you able to draw an analysis of what you are trying to evaluate? And finally, write up the research and present the findings. Whatever you are trying to make an arrangement, it should be evaluated, analyzed, finally written as a research with the presentation of the findings. Clear? So these processes are not always linear and can be irritative. Because you see, in the middle of the field work, you may not get enough data. This may create a frustration within your mind, but at the same time, you should remember that because you're doing a field study, jolts and obstacles are going to come. That's why when I had started the presentation, I had made it very clear that this is a research field less explored and more of an offbeat area. Coming to the next one, data collection and analysis. First step, how do you do the field study? I have made it very simple so that if you want, you can use it for your own case study review. Decide how to collect the data, interviews, surveys, etc. First of all, how do you collect data? It can be through data, interviews, surveys, etc. Clear? If survey method is chosen, paper or internet, postal or facilitated in person. If you want to make a survey, say survey on the CSR projects of Tata in hospitality. So, in order to establish the fact, what can be the sources? It can either be on paper or you can retrieve data from internet, which is the last resource, or it can be for the compilation portion, it can be through postal. Suppose you're staying in Kolkata and you want to have data from Mumbai, you can obviously contact people who are looking after the CSR projects of Tata in Mumbai and have a postal reply, or it can be through in person. You go yourself, you stay there, you collect your data, and you come back for the retrieval. Again, what is the next step if you are choosing it through interviews? If you're deciding for an interview, it should be decided whether it is to be in groups or in individual. Whether it will be in group or in individual. Clear? Next, decide how to capture data, written notes, audio tape, and video. So, these are the various approaches through which you can collect data. But the main motto is that it has to be a field activity. Decide transcription and language issues. For example, you are collecting data of continent. in a global level. So you should be very clear about the transcription and the language issues. Next, data collection and analysis. Step 2. Decide how to code the data. Too much of data is also superfluous. So once you are able to retrieve the data, you should be able to understand how to code the data for your own accessibility. If you have quantitative data, decide which statistical tools to use. If it is a quantitative one, you need to decide on the several mathematical derivations, mathematical tools for analyzing the quantitative data. If it is a qualitative data, as we are now discussing the CSR projects of Tata, it needs to have a software to analyze it. Now, after the analysis is done, the data integration is to be needed. It needs the integration of the analysis that you have been able to infer from the data itself. And finally, decide how to present the findings and the analysis. Clear? Okay. So these are some of the classic text about case. As I had said, building theories from case study research, Academy of Management Review. You can go through this Simmons case study research in practice, the art of case study. These are the books from which where I have framed the PPT and design and method. So be it of whatever frame it can be, case study research, one thing which is very much needed. Just a minute. Case study research, which is very much needed for the line of action for an individual, is the attention to the field activity. Unless you have a very keen acumen to work in the field, case study researchers will not help you in life. Let me see, as I have some bit more of time, whether I can show you another slide which describes the different types of case study. Just a minute. Shift the screen. Yeah. Okay. Most common useful types of case study. One is the descriptive or intrinsic case study. One is the instrumental case study. One is the comparative case study. Descriptive, as I have said, is when you are describing any set of settings which you feel that it can be of a requirement to the society. For example, you see, we can have a descriptive case study on the issues of environment. Instrumental case studies speaks about the data case study, how instrumental it is in the societal periphery. Comparative case studies will always require a next parameter to make the comparison. Descriptive or intrinsic case study is a project that aims to elucidate features specific to a particular case, as I have said, can be aimed at focusing on the richness of case per se. Clear? As I said, it can be on environmental issues, it can be on educational issues, it can be on the government policies, something which aims at focusing on the richness of the case or theory building, generating hypothesis. Okay. For example, you see Brexit and its uniqueness. This can be one of the descriptive case study. Next, instrumental case study, the intensive, that is the both qualitative and quantitative analysis of a single unit or a small number of units where the researcher's goal is to understand a larger class of similar units. You see, it instrumental, as I said, is always a combination of qualitative as well as quantitative, used to understand a bigger sample. For example, as I said, the attrition, the employability index of Maruti Udyog India Limited, that's an instrumental case study. Thus, here there is an inherent problem of inference. You see how it is different from a descriptive case study. Descriptive case study is more elaborative, but instrumental case study is more drawing towards the inference to a larger population. Think of examples from India or Nigeria. Case selection, single case studies, crucial case, heightened importance in the intersubjective world of the community of scholars. These can be big countries or countries that are either conspicuous successes or failures, etc. These are the crucial case studies. Clear? Typical case studies to explore and understand causal mechanisms that are not apparent in the quantitative analysis. Clear? And the last is deviant case study to understand their anomaly and their contribution to theory. These are just for your variations I have said. Comparative case studies, the lesser easy and one, compared more than one cases. Comparative case studies resemble statistical analysis which manipulates groups of cases to control sources of variations in order to make causal inference. As I had said, cause and effect. You make a comparison between two parameters and you have the causal effect. Overcome problem of selecting on dependent variable, therefore much greater explanatory power. You have your own more power to be executed because it helps in overcoming problems of selecting on dependent variable. Acha. And comparative case study, what are the key areas? Requires careful case selection and justification, very important. Comparing very similar cases which only differ in the dependent on the assumption that this would make it easier to find determinants. When you're making a comparison between Maruti and Hyundai, you should be comparing on the similar scale of comparison, but the difference will be dependable on the variable, on the assumption that this would make it easier to find the determinants. Another is comparing very different cases, all of which, however, have in common the same dependent variable. One is the similar cases, one is different cases, but the same dependent variable, so that any other circumstance which is present in the case may be regarded as an independent variable. How to conduct a case study? First is introduction, that is the research question, why it is important, literature review, What has been written about the topic already that will help you the answer the question? Which case studies you will often concentrate on bigger theoretical issues? Next comes the methods. Why did you select your particular case? Results. Gather as much data as possible to help you answer your research question. Discussion, and finally, the conclusion. Discussion: what does your case tell about the broader issue you are looking at in the future? And with this comes the reference areas. Just a minute. So, this is in a nutshell the entire layout structure of attending as well as organizing a case study, because ultimately, as I draw my line of conclusion, case study will reflect your power of discretion. It is you who will make a case build up, it is you who will make a case fall down. So, with these few words, I end my presentation. Thank you so much for your patient hearing, and the session is open for questions.
Dear participants, if you have any questions, you can ask.
Okay.
Dear participants, if you have any questions, you can ask.
Um, Hopefully, I think there are no questions. So, with the due permission of the organizer and with the moderator, uh, I think we can close the session, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you, ma'am, for very informative and fruitful session.
Thank you so much. Okay. So, with your
Okay.
due
Uh,
permission, I'm leaving the session.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is three-day international virtual workshop on research methodology and research writing, jointly organized by Lavender Literary Club India, CAP, Common Trust, and Malaysian Industrial Relations and Human Resource Association, Malaysia. Their participant is the second day, and we are moving to the second session. And our speaker is, let me introduce our speaker, Professor Dr. Balakrishnan Parasuraman, Professor, Human Resource Management and Labor Relations, Faculty of Entrepreneurship and Business, University, Malaysia, Kelantan, Malaysia, President, Malaysian Industrial Relations and Human Resource Association, Malaysia, and Patron, Lavender Literary Club, India. Professor Dr. Balakrishna Parasuraman is the Professor of Management, HR, Industrial Relations of Faculty and Entrepreneurship and Business, University, Malaysia, Kelantan. He is the member of the International Honors Societies of the International Employment and Labor Relations Association based in Geneva, Switzerland, Malaysian Institute of HRM, and International Employment Relations Association, Sydney, Australia. He received the Global HR Award 2009 from the World HR Advisory Council. He was adjudged as an outstanding PhD researcher at University of Wollongong, Australia. In 2004, a recipient of the Visiting Research Fellow at the Center of the Asia Pacific and Social Transformations Faculty of Commerce, University of Wollongong, and University of Indonesia in 2010. He is a popular choice as an interviewee by TV and radio stations to give opinions on HR-related issues in global or local perspective. His research fellow article, The Challenges Faced by Trade Union in Improving Employees' Rights and Welfare During the COVID-19 Pandemic. Dr. Balakrishnan Parasuraman, the impact of COVID-19 on human resources and industrial relations. Then the role of safety culture in the organizations, and employee participation in the workspace, concept, meaning, and innovational tool. The challenges faced by trade unions in improving employees' rights and welfare during the COVID-19 pandemic. We are very glad to have you, sir, and hand over in this session to you. This session is yours. Please begin this session.
Okay. First of all, okay, thank you, Gino, for brief introduction about myself. And also, I'd like to say greetings and good evening to all our distinguished participants in this webinar. And this is a 3-day international virtual workshop webinar on research methodology and research writing. And it was organized by Lavendale Research Club India and Cap Comorin Trust, and also Malaysian IR HR, which I'm already president now, founding president for this professional association. So I believe in India the time is around 7 something. In Malaysia, I think almost 9:20. So
Yes, sir. 6:52.
Yeah, 6:30. Sorry, 6:30. I won't take a long time of you all, and I like say greetings to, special thanks to Dr. Frank, and because Dr. Frank, they are actually person behind organize this webinar for last 3 years since I think COVID-19, and it was continued. So I really hope that we are just about 10 people, 11 people in this group. Doesn't matter. So we still need to learn something from each other. So based on what Gino was explaining to me about myself, so I'm the social scientist expert, especially on the HR and industrial relation labor law. So I in academic almost 27 or 28 years. Can I share my screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. When you see the one, let me know. Can you see my screen? I cannot see all. Can you see the
Sir, we
screen?
can see.
Is it clear?
Yes, sir. We can.
Clear?
See. Yeah, clear.
Okay. Okay. So this is about question about research methodology, research writing. Tomorrow, my colleague from University of Malaysia, Kelantan, we are based in east coast of Peninsular Malaysia. Malaysia divided by two, Peninsula and Sabah Sarawak, and Borneo Island. Whereas we are in Peninsular Malaysia, but we are in east coast. So my place to Kuala Lumpur about 1 hour flight. If you fly, you drive about 6 hours. So in a small town, we call Kota Baru, and we are the public university in Malaysia, and we are focused on the entrepreneurship, and so we are basically train the student in the mindset of entrepreneurship, and also to create entrepreneurs among the students, even up to lecturers. Okay, we are teaching a lot of subject that focus. So myself, I more focus on human resource and regulation that focus more on how to create high performance talent. So in order to do that, I think we need to ask ourselves. And of course, sorry, these are the people that I really mentioned just now: Dr. Frank, Dr. Regine, Dr. Ganesan, or my fellow friends. He's in the teacher training college, and also all the respected committee members and participants from India and also Malaysia. Those days we also got people from any. Okay, so this is my brief CV. Then, so what I said to you just now, research is already become our passion, our passion, and also it must be compulsory for each of us as an academic scholar. So without research, we are not able to produce a good policy for the country and also a good paper that can be published in good journals, and of course books and proceeding and so on. So, but nowadays the challenge is the whole world. We are looking for the ranking of the universities. So, and my university, I think the rank they just came out the 500 the best university in Asia, even though we are young compared to other big university in Malaysia. So, but it's still it was among the best. So then when you talk about ranking, then of course publication is the key. So they will measure by the start publication. So without publish, and that's what my former dean, former boss, when I was working at University Malaysia Sabah, which is Borneo Island, that's another state. And I moved to University of Malaysia Kelantan because I got a full professor. So then what we do, both universities, when I work, I focus much on research. Till now, I about to retire in another 3 years. But of course, my passion is research. When I do a good research, and the research going to be a book or publication. So throughout my career, of course, I always focus on research, and research means also you focus on research grant. That you must get a good grant from the like in India, from the India Ministry of Science. I'm not sure what ministry, but for us, Ministry of Higher Education, they are providing many grants, and also foreign grants from Japan and many countries also giving grants. So we able to get succeed a few grants, and from the grant we transfer into the publication. Either can be journal or book and so on. Okay. So this is my latest publication. Last 2 years during the COVID-19, I with my PhD student, my colleagues from Indonesia, and also with my PhD student, able to publish 2 books for last 2 years. So one of the book we published in the University of Indonesia is based in Jakarta. So University Indonesia is #1 university, top 10 in Indonesia. It's a government university. They are at the moment they are #1 in line with other universities, and that's how I publish with them. And the other book actually from industry perspective. The other book is actually from my DBA PhD student, but he was experienced working for more than 30 years in industry. As a key person, as a CEO on the organization. It's a government organization, but we call deputy, director, chief director. So secretary, like secretary general. That's why he was there. Then we published the book with him. So that is my passion. So it's come from research. Of course, the first book that you see in the screen. Gino, can you see the screen? Can Gino? Hello, Gino?
Yes, sir.
Can you see the slide? Can I?
Yes, sir. We can see.
And can hear my voice also? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You're audible.
Because everybody quiet, then I don't know, because I'm speaking to the slide, I cannot see you all the other side. Okay. All right. So and then it's already become so we I'm not sure how many of you are academics. Maybe you can raise your hand. You're academic in the, So when you are academics, or either you are scholar, PhD scholar, or master's by research scholar, you need to publish. Because publication will be key. For those people doing like you're all doing PhD, you need to get a good publication, and then only you can apply job as academic. So that is a compulsory to all of us. And then of course, my advice actually to be humble yourself, so that things will turn out to good for you. Okay. So if you look at my partnership between my friend just now, you can see this is my book, my Dr. Ariana, but we both already working since 2005 until now. Immediate 2005 is now already 2020, going to be almost 18 years. We work together. We are meeting in Australia as a friend, and we are both doing PhD. I was doing my PhD in the University of Wollongong in the southern part of Sydney, Australia. And my friend, Dr. Ariana, did a PhD in Queensland University. All of you know Queensland, in above, up there, near north. So he did there. Both were doing the same field. He did also in industrial relation. I also did industrial relation and human resource. And throughout our good friendship, we also developed a kind of research competition, and we work as a team, and we able to win our silver and gold medal until we went to Geneva. You can see there's a diploma there, Geneva. We win. So how we able to win? Because we we publish paper together, many papers, because both research, same topic, or maybe similar different topic. But I go beyond that. I go for competition. So when we compete at the university level, in my university, Malaysia Sabah, then we move. Once you gold medal, they will bring you to Kuala Lumpur national competition, Malaysian innovation and something like that called innovation research competition, and then we are able to go to Geneva. We are selected to go to Geneva. So many applications can be considered. Even competition also more important. You sell your ideas, you come up with the software. Then you can see here some posters here. These are those days, where IT is not advanced like today. Probably today is more advanced. Okay, this is a book I told you my student. So all right, I don't go through this one. It's where I was mentioning to you. This is the Southeast Asia map. Then you can see here Malaysia map. So I am somewhere, Peninsular Malaysia, the dark blue color. That's our state. You can see Peninsular Malaysia, dark blue is our state, and you can see on the north near the ocean. That's where I'm working now. Previously, I'm working at the green, the one Borneo Island. You can see on the right end, the right end, we call East Malaysia. The green color is actually Sabah, where I'm working last time. Then I moved to this one. So this is the Peninsular Malaysia. I can show you even closer where I'm now. I'm actually in Kota Baru now. I'm talking to you from Malaysia, Kelantan. Okay. So this is our university campus, and okay. So this all I managed for last 20 years. I managed to get the grant from World Bank, International Labour Organization, Japan Foundation, European Foundation, Malaysian grant, internal, external, FRGS. All these actually is the Ministry of Higher Education grant, different grants, and also I able to get few industry grant recently. So research can be applied or basic. Some research now a policy for the country. So like some of my research like minimum wage conducted research nationwide, now it become a policy for the country. So that's how our academic. We don't think that we are only teaching our student, supervise our student, but we also able to bring our research also turn to be a good policy for the respective countries. For example, in India, Maybe you look at a lot of poverty among the poorest people. So you must have income gap between the poor and the rich or middle class and so on. So you have to focus research on that group of people, and then you propose a good policy for your country, and they might use the policy for betterment of the. So that's why I said research is have a different kind of role, purpose. So research start from the grant. From the grant, you complete the research. Complete research, you go publication, and after publication, you go for policy, and finally, you also can go for competition and so on. So this is how we do that. Okay, so I also examine many PhD theses from India and also from overseas and also local university. So after this, I have to complete 2 or 3 theses that I on my desk. So I have to mark and examine the thesis. So I learn a lot of things when I read thesis. I learn a lot of things. So currently I have about 12 PhD and master student, doctor of business. So the number already increasing to 20. Students are doing it. So everybody doing a different topics. So that also part of also research, because when the student do research, you as an examiner, you can help them. Okay, so my topic area, actually I'm talking about qualitative research, because the research approach, there are many approach, qualitative and quantitative. Maybe my previous speaker and yesterday, they already touched about quantitative and so on. So I am in that stream. That means my ontology, epistemology, of course, is focused on the methodology, is more qualitative. So I look at the observation, interview data, and so on. And tomorrow, I'm also joining my DBA student from morning. We're going to conduct an interview with the staff. He is doing his own company. He's doing a doctorate on his own company. So definitely you go to focus on the. So I believe you will do the focusing on the year. So basically, you can see that why is so important research, because research can generate ideas and so on. So very, very important actually. When you do research, you have to focus on your side. Okay, so focus is very important. So you have to streamline what you want to do. So some people actually they just do research. They didn't focus the research problem. Okay, so how we develop this model, okay, between myself and my friend Dr. Ariana. So we won the best paper in India, New Delhi, in year 2007. So for the information of our participant here, I have been a few times to India, including Mumbai, New Delhi, South India, and other places. I've been there, and this is 2007, back to almost more than 10 years. So almost coming to 18 years. So we won the best paper in International Labor and Industrial Relations Conference. And this is a model that we propose. Until now, I didn't see any model on the partnership between union and employers in Asia. So we are the first one. How this model come through? Actually, from our research, from our publication. And this paper also published in the journal, Indian Journal of Industrial Relations. So it's an old journal, more than 40 years journal. Sometimes some good journal, it won't be in the Scopus because you need to pay money. So some good journal, they are just like, appeared in the website. This is what are the journal. So of course, we also looking at the pattern theory. So when we look at the research problem, like how we come up with this model, actually based on the problem in the workplace. Example, like I said, share my own experience. There's a conflict between employer and employers or trade union. They always conflict in many issues. Sometimes many things bypassed by employers. certain decision-making process. It doesn't go through the union's input to be considered in the decision-making process. So always bypass. That's a major problem, and it will impact the life of the people. So that is one thing that I really worried in the workplace. So that's how we come up with this partnership, and there always conflict. Like in case like India, they always go to like going to strike and so on. So the workplace is not very cozy environment, very harmonious environment. So that is a problem. And the problem, you look at the theoretical problem. So we have come up with how to bring these two people to work as a team. So we look at this model. So first we look at this model. Professor Basu Sharma on the literature review, you proposed this. So we look at this model. You can see a stage 3. So Malaysia and Indonesia actually going to newly industrialized country. Although this theory was developed in 1985 by Professor Sharma, but it's still relevant to current situation. Some theory is classical theory, but you can use also. It's still relevant to current situation. So look at this theory. So it was predicted the moment you become a new industrialized country, the workplace relationship pattern should be more cooperative, no conflict. So this is what Professor Sharma was suggested in the theory. So how we transform into the reality? This is what reality. So we suggested to the both government, Indonesia and Malaysia, you go for this model. So this we call cooperative. You can see here, you see here, cooperative, from conflict to cooperative. And this is what we mean partnership with cooperative. So you can see how we bring from theory to our proposed new model. Okay, so research, of course, is a very tedious, very tough process. You can see here many kinds of research, master's research, PhD, policy kind of research. Now we are doing policy research at the moment, because every 2 years we are going to revise the salary. So when you do revise the salary, then you need to do a thorough research. Now currently we are doing a national level research. We are doing qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative, we are doing focus group discussion. So far, we travel from about 13 states. We travel from one state to another state. Some is online, some is face-to-face. So we engage with the employers and employees. I directly involved in this research because I become the moderator in FGD. So I know how to conduct FGD. So that's what one of the element, one of the technique in the qualitative. Same time, we also doing survey. We are sending about more than 2,000 questionnaire to all the employees and employers. So total up maybe around 5,000 respondents will involved in this study, because this is a national related policy related study. This is a thing we need to present to the council, which council at a higher level, the finding of the research, and then they will determine the rate of research. So many kind of research you can involve, but we take some time. You start from the young lecturers, you keep publishing. Me also start like you're in the beginning, to establish myself. It take at least 10 or 15 years, but non-stop doing research. So make sure that there's no plagiarism, and do research, practical problems, okay, and get funding, right? Career prospect. You know, all of you, some of you are studying PhD to get a prospect. So big question, so what with my research? Example, PhD and master. So we always ask ourselves big question, so what? Any value or meaning for me? That's another thing that you have to consider. Ask yourself, and then once you know that, then you have to go this process. This is cycle. Read and write, rinse and repeat. Many people read, but they never write. That's another limitation. You have to read and write together, the process, and then come back again. You come back again, repeat again. So the process is going on and on until you complete the good research proposal, chapter 1 to 3. If you look at the For PhD or masters, you look at the chapter 1 to 3. For normal research, of course, same also chapter 1 to 3. Currently, I'm heading one of the book. I'm the chief editor for the book that published by the government, Ministry of Human Resources. So my team, I got few lecturers under me, and this book, what I call link to the government. Government is a government project, so they asked me to look at the 10 years minimum wage in the country. We already implement minimum wage for 10 years. We are revised back and recall back what is our achievement, what is our setback, what are the challenges we face, and now. So the book will be completed everything by July. So that is another book. Is more to public domain policy for the whole people to understand the concept and so on. So research, I think I'm not going through detail on this. Everybody knows is a systematic, orderly following a step. Purpose, new knowledge which must be reliable. This general definition. So research is a systematic approach to obtaining, confirming new and reliable knowledge. Meaning to say, we're going to obtain the data based on the research problem and confirm with our theory, and we have to reliable the knowledge and write in, and then that's how the process goes on and on. So these are basic process review the literature available, formulate questions, select appropriate design. Like in our case, we select multi-method. Normally, I will ask my student to do multi-method. That means there's a component quantitative and qualitative. Collect relevant data, interpret findings, and publish. That is a simple research process. So there are many kinds of research: exploration, description, explanation. So you need to know where they are stand. Exploration normally related to qualitative. If you go to explanation, go more on got independent, dependent variable, or moderating variable, mediating variable. So there's a relationship between variables. That's why we go more explanation. Exploration is more explore different ideas. So it's more on qualitative way of discovering the knowledge. So that's why you must understand what is a qualitative, what's a quantitative. So they're very important on that meaning. So again, when you look at reasoning, logic, so we start from general theory. Any approach, whether qualitative or quantitative, you have to go through the reasoning logic. In this context, everybody like, oh, I want to quantitative, I want to do qualitative, but they don't know the reasoning behind why you use that kind of approach. So always go back to the research problem. What is a research problem? What kind of question? Like example, if we all question about why and how, normally related to qualitative. Because when put the why, you how the process, how to improve the employee performance at the workplace, how many strategy training, one of the kind training, performance appraisal, and so on. So many things you open up. When come to quantitative, you need to have clear variables that you already set from the beginning. So you cannot change the variable. The variable will come from your research problem too, and also your literature review. That's why I said quantitative look like easy process, but not easy. You independent and dependent variables. So cause and effect. When you talk of cause and effect, then it falls under explanation. Cause and effect. What is a cause? What is effect? So example, example I give, training. Training will impact the performance of the employees. Okay, so training is many things. What kind of training? Indoor, outdoor training, what kind of training? All these small variables under independent variables. So dependent variables is the performance of the employees. That's all. In between, you can use moderating, maybe environment. Okay, not only training will affect the performance of the employees, also environment of the organization. Maybe culture can be mediating or can be moderating. Moderating means moderating between independent dependent variables. The variable can moderate Mediating means another variable. They're also giving impact. Apart from training, performance, mediating also giving another impact to that. So that's you must understand. You must go through and study research method together with your topic that you're going to do. So I giving from my example. So this is how you come up with that. So the choice actually go on research paradigm. When you mindset on quantitative, then the research paradigm will go to positivism. Okay, objectivity, ontology. Like example, like science. Science always predicts something. They will predict A or B like that. So prediction very important. That's why they are using positivism. You set everything. So quantitative, we already set the variable. You cannot change the variable. Every variable already clear. Research done. Critically, you choose, and then you go to test. The word test is very important in the positivism, in quantitative testing. Whereas positivism, non-positivism is opposite, interpretive. So you explore. Just now we see the, exploration. So you open up not only one variable, there are many variables. Example, why micro industry is suffering? Maybe not one, two variable, maybe many factors. Factors means variable also lah. Finance, human resource, support for the government, the attitude, behavior of a micro industry, the owner, and so on. So these all the many factors. You only can go to the fieldwork, talk to them, and then you get this one. So this is you must understand lah. Okay. So it can be combined also, and then we call multi-method. All right, multi-method, although it look like it's quantitative, but still within the boundary of qualitative. But we're using quantitative data to support qualitative data, or qualitative data support the quantitative. So this we call, so many research, especially education and social research nowadays, currently we were using multi-method. Even myself, I'm moving away from qualitative, which I very much focused on qualitative in the past. Now I'm moving towards multi-method. In fact, I encourage my PhD students all do multi-method and so on, so that they can get a better understanding and better on the problem they selected, the social science problems, they can have a better. So you can, so methodology is come from the positivism and interpretivism, or non-positivism. So from there, you have to choose the right design, nice methodology to equip with your ontology. That is what is your epistemology, ontology that we bring. So positivism, opposite is interpretive. So the methodology can be two. One is qualitative approach. The other one is quantitative approach. So this is how I compare. So you can see the comparison very clear. Where is the distinction? Very easy. In qualitative, we are only focused interpretation, data. How interpret? You go and talk. Like tomorrow, we are going to conduct interview from morning 8 o'clock until 2 o'clock to various employees that responded that we said we're going to interview. We already conducted one interview in 2 days ago with the CEO. Tomorrow we're going to interview the clerical staff and also the ex staff that they already perform well in the company, and they come back again to help this company A. They work in company A, later they go their own business, and they come back again to help the company A. The company A actually giving a lot of so we interview them. So this induction meaning, you got to say meaning, multiple realities, not only one reality, multiple realities, holistic. We don't focus one and two variable, it's very holistic. And then develop a theory or modify the theory that we already proposed tentatively in the chapter 2. The theory quantitative is more deduction approach. So induction versus deduction. Deduction means deductive. Deductive means we set all the variables, independent, dependent, or moderating or mediating variables. We already set clear. Example, I give you training can impact the employee performance. It can be moderate through the environmental issues, or we can use mediating, another variable that evaluation culture also can impact performance of the employee. So we come out these models. Then already set. You cannot change any variables You already critically analyzed chapter 2, the concept, the theory, underpinning theory, everything clear. You come up with a model, and the model framework, research framework, you go and test through the questionnaire. Only questionnaire. You send the questionnaire to the respondent, regardless, whatever you do, but must follow the ethical issue. Qualitative different. Qualitative, we are not look for the numbers. Sampling in quantitative is generalization, and you need to get a sample, a big sample, then you have some tests to do lah. You know what to do. There are some tests already done by scholars. You choose 10,000 employees, how many samples you want to done. So probably like 400, 500 sampling you're involving the respondent, and they are answering online, or they can answer by physically, up to you how you do that. But there will be process to that. And you know what kind of language you're using is up to you. Then the process come back, you analyze through the PLS or SEM, okay, structural model. Because structural model is actually related to multivariate. Multivariate, like I say to you, independent, dependent variables, moderating variables, and variating variables. So many variables, you use the PLS to run the test. And because PLS is a very powerful statistical tool to test all these and then come up with a model. And then, whereas qualitative, you can do manually by thematic analysis. The number are many, maybe 10. Like tomorrow, one of my DBA student, they conduct research, only focus 10 respondent only, the whole research. We don't need to go to so many respondent, but we choose. That's why we call purposive sampling. And purposive sampling will be very useful for you to sample them based on the purpose. Why you choose the respondent. CEO, I choose because he knows A to Z company. Why I choose the employee manager, he knows about operation. Why I choose the clerical staff, they know the operation from there. So there's a purpose. Whereas quantitative, you just randomly choose and you run the sampling, systematic sampling or random sampling, whatever sampling you set, then you justify and you send, then it's out. So many of PhD thesis I actually correcting is actually quantitative. Although I am expert in qualitative, I know quantitative also because I study. So many research deal with the quantitative. So I ask many questions on that. I hope you all understand or not? Can understand? Anybody can respond to me? Umar, are you there, Umar? Hello, Umar, are you there? Aisha? Gino?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
There are people there or not? Ask, nobody answering, nobody responding my question. Are there? Brinda, are you there? Dr. Brinda? Hello, Dr. Brinda, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I'm here.
Dr. Brinda, can you follow me? What I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir, I'm following you, sir.
Okay, Dr. Brinda, what is your field? What is your focus of research?
Focus on American literature, sir.
American literature. So, Dr. Brinda, what approach you are using in your research, in your doctorate, PhD?
Sir, actually, I have completed my PhD 5 years back.
Oh, you
so
completed
now
PhD 5 years back.
I'm updating my knowledge by following your lectures now.
It's okay.
Sir.
Okay. What kind of methodology you use in your linguistic study? What kind of methodology? Or you using like qualitative or quantitative?
Qualitative, sir.
So how you analyze the data? How you select the sample?
Actually, I did work on Sylvia Plath's poetry, sir.
Can you explain a little bit onto me? Little bit, just briefly.
So Sylvia Plath's True Self, it's not a data collections like that. Simply theoretical.
So you're using like text.
Yeah, text full of text is a theoretical approach.
You go through the literature, American literature, and you select your sample is actually the text.
Yeah, I followed MLA 7th edition. Yeah.
All right, I understand. I also have experience do something like that because my diploma education is linguistic, Malay language, and it's
yes, sir.
So I know about the linguistics style of doing things. So you are like doing a novel, novel type of
Yes,
this.
sir.
So you have a team, you have a problem, and then you go through the that means it's the qualitative lah. But you're doing more on the content analysis, am I right? Is it
Yeah,
correct?
yes, sir. Yes, yes, sir. Yes,
You
sir.
go through the passage by passage, you analyze, and then you gather the data, then you write in. So that is
Okay,
a
sir.
method by content. So okay, I understand you. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for.
Where are you working, doctor? Where are you working now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm working in TDMNS College, T. Kalikulam, Tirunelveli district, sir.
Oh, Tirunelveli. Okay, okay.
Yeah, regular
So
staff. Yeah, yes, sir.
hopefully,
Staff. Mm.
hopefully I can visit your university. I'd love to come to India actually. I'm waiting for the
Oh,
right time to visit.
Oh. Okay, sir.
I love to visit my online. Although Malaysian, born Indian, but okay.
Yes, sir.
So doctor,
Okay,
thanks
sir.
a lot.
Thanks a
Asha,
lot. Thanks a lot, sir.
yeah, thanks.
What's
Asha there? Asha. No,
Okay,
I'm calling another person.
Okay, sir.
Asha Regina, are you there? What about Uma, Wadai Mani, you're there? Dr. Iftira Hussein, are you there? Jinu, can you find out Jinu? They are there or no? Only Dr. Brinda responded.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Can you find out the people that are calling them? Are you there or not? Because I want they respond to me. Can you call
They
them?
are online, sir. They are online, but they are not responding.
Uma there? Uma?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here, sir.
Oh, okay. I call your name because I don't know whether you are online or not because I need the
Actually, I'm
motivation.
facing some network issue, sir.
Oh, never mind.
Hello?
Are you student or lecturer?
I actually am librarian in college, sir.
Oh, librarian. Oh, are you studying now? Are you further studying?
No,
or
sir. My PhD is already completed.
When? When, Uma?
Yes, sir.
When you completed
Last
your
year,
PhD?
sir.
Oh,
Last year,
what
sir.
is your field? What is your field?
Library and information science.
Oh, that's good. Congratulations. So what
Thank
kind
you,
of
sir.
method you using? What kind of method? Uma, Dr. Uma?
Yes, sir. Hello.
What approach you're using in your doctorate?
Sir, actually, your voice is not clear to me. Hello.
Yeah. I'm asking question. Do you hear me
Hello?
now? Can you hear me?
Hello. Sir, your
Oh, I
voice
think-
is not clear to me. Hello.
Okay. Never mind. It's okay. All right. Thank you very much for Dr. Brinda and Dr. Umar was explaining to me. So Nemela, we keep on updating Dr. Brinda. We also updating the knowledge, you and me. Of course, if you know the latest, and then you can share. Who's that? Okay. All right. So what I'm trying to say to you all is there is a distinction between these two. So doesn't matter. Sometimes your ontology, epistemology is on qualitative or inductive approach. That's what you're doing online. But you can move away to multi-method or quantitative. It doesn't matter. But the fundamental is your mindset, of course, in that paradigm lah. So like what I'm trying to say to you all is actually I'm examining a lot thesis on quantitative. Okay. Like in this coming Monday, I'm going to examine a PhD thesis on quantitative. The candidate, I think, come from overseas, but they study in Malaysia. And I already got invitation for Delhi. And then they also inviting me to be an examiner for their thesis. So it doesn't matter for me. But when come to the explanation, debate, I always ask some question to them. What are the fundamental problem that you raised and how your problem related to your method? Why you choose this method? Why you do that? Why do that? So I ask so many questions, and why your finding is not actually matching to the research problem that you proposed chapter 1. Where is the model, theoretical framework? How you develop theoretical framework? How you come up with this complex issue? Why you choose this variable? So all these questions are asked during the Viva. Then the student will answer to me. Okay, so the slide moving or not? Slide moving on. Okay. All right. Okay, what is a qualitative? Everybody knows about that. And then Dr. Brinda, I think you also know about that. But of course, the way I feel is hard to quantify. That is actually qualitative. how how hard on a scale of 1 to 10. So these are the things that difficult to measure. That's what we call qualitative lah. If we go for numbers, what is how many is, and then related to quantitative. Okay, what is the impact, the relationship between training and employee performance? There is a positive relationship between training and employee performance. There is a positive relationship between training and organizational culture in terms of performance employees. So that's a question related to quantitative. But qualitative, you ask question why you are. I mean, example, I can ask why the training is so important for your company. When you ask like that, the respondent will answer many reasons why training was. So you can compare to respondent A, B, C, D, E. Everybody talking the same topic, but everybody giving the different understanding of the area. So this is how we do it qualitative, right? So why don't patient? These are all the different questions lah. How do, what makes, why, and all these questions. So what are the how training will impact or something like that. Then you must come up with a different strategy. So CEO, we have their own opinion. Manager got own opinion. Middle manager got own opinion. Technical staff own opinion. Lower level employee own opinion. So everybody same topic but different opinion. And you as a researcher gathered the knowledge. Then you have to compress everything in thematic analysis. Then it like this talk with Dr. Umar, you're doing a library science. So library science, maybe you collect data from the, I'm not sure how you do conduct. Maybe you conduct through the student involvement, postgraduate student or undergraduate student towards this lah. So depending on you, how you bring this one. So everything got reason behind, got reason on behind of that. Okay. All right. So this is what all the guru, Brayman, Jackson, and so on. They will discuss. So I'm not going to very detail on that. And then of course the foundation I already explained to you. So these are the paradigm shift lah. Worldview. We call theoretical perspective. For example, in my area, I call industrial relation, labor relation. I can look from the HR perspective. I also can look from the employee perspective. I also can look from the labor law perspective and different perspective. I can look from the theoretical perspective. One issue, let's say minimum wage, wages, minimum wage, I think India also got. But I can look at from HR perspective. For example, if I look from HR perspective, when I ask the manager, do you agree, what do you understand minimum wage? You will tell minimum wage, like that. Why minimum wage is so important for your company? You will tell from HR perspective lah, because we are spending a lot of money for for producing this product or services like hotel. We develop the hotel, build the hotel. Now we want to get a customer. So when we win the customer, then we need to pay a good pay lah. And then they said minimum wage, something like that. Okay. So the manager, if we look at the labor perspective or trade union, you ask the labor or employee, they say, no, enough, 1,000 ringgit, no enough. We want more because cost of living very high. So you can see, one topic, different perspective, theoretical perspective. So I was trained as employee or trade union perspective. But when I come to the University of Malaysia, Kelantan, this is an entrepreneurship university. So I start appreciate employer perspective also, HR and labor. I combine these two. Then I come up with my own, own definition and own conclusion I'll make. So not so much bias to employee, not so much bias to employer, but bringing these two in the. And then we talk about research methodology and data collection strategy lah. So we call methods or techniques. Last thing you choose, not the first. So data collection will be various lah. If you choose quantitative, then you are using survey, totally survey. In the survey, you got all component, dependent variables or moderating variables. You ask in the questionnaire, then you analyze. Then you come up with a hypothesis. Because when you do social research, when you want to test, you need hypothesis. Without hypothesis, you cannot test. So hypothesis will relate to your research question objective of the research lah. But my qualitative, you don't need have hypothesis, no, because it's exploration, it's open question. So that how the difference is. Okay, all this I'm not going through very but this is all the qualitative what they call approach that we use in the literature, and currently worldwide people using this grounded theory, ethnographic, phenology, case study, and so on. Most popular is a case study. Very tough is ethnographic and grounded theory. But there are some students did my PhD student multiple approach they're using in the research. Some using qualitative case study, one of them using ethnographic case study. He writing about his involvement in the organization for last 30 years. He come up with his topic is integrity and corporate governance. So he managed integrity and corporate governance. So he called ICG. So yang bahagia Datuk Talib, he was ex-minister, now also member of State Assembly, one of the state in Sarawak. So he wrote about his experience for last 30 years. He was CEO of one of the biggest chairman for Sarawak Economic Development Corporation. It's a state level economy planning and corporation. So he introduced this concept ICG, integrity and governance, corporate governance, and then he further go in to look at what the theory behind this, and it's what the way he writing is this is ethnographic, meaning to say you already got data, now you choose the theory to support the data. This is what we call qualitative. So we are not so much concerned about the theory come first, then we do the data collection. So some research are ethnographic or grounded theory, they collect data first, and then they come to seek the right theory to confirm the data. Whereas quantitative, or some approach qualitative, like myself, I come up with a tentative model. I do qualitative case study, a tentative model, but the model is tentative. It can be changed after the data collection in the fieldwork. So I'm doing that kind of research, also qualitative. But quantitative cannot. You already fixed everything, theoretical framework, everything, then you go to, so this is a difference. Grounded theory is zero. Why they call grounded theory? You go zero to the fieldwork and you collect data. So one of my friend did film industry. He interviewed the directors and so on. And then finally he able to come up with a new model. So they come up with a new model. That's a grounded, very tough to do grounded theory. Okay, of course, sampling, as you know, we are much concerned about purposive sampling. We are not much concerned with the numbers, but the respondent selection is very important. We purposely choose them. So we use some criteria to choose them. So rather purposely looking for the participant. So that's what we do in there. So technique, like tomorrow, we're going to collect data through the interview, unstructured or structured interview tomorrow. Then we are not doing direct observation. If you education or you want to see the employee behavior, maybe use a direct observation. I use that in my PhD, direct observation. And participant observation is actually people already in the, like tomorrow where I met the CEO of the industry. He is a owner of the company, and then he is a participant observation. That's what we call it. So he participated in the industry for last 30 years. So now he is doing on his own company. There's no bias. It's okay because we use other respondents to support to his own stand on his company. So we also interview and so on, but we only use one method only. So the famous one is a case study, which I already explained to you. And okay, in qualitative, we are calling, I give you some of the example here. In quantitative, you call objectivity. Very important. You collect data truthful. Both data actually truthful. No data, you cheating. Cannot. You cannot cheat anyone. You must truthful yourself, objectivity. But in qualitative, we call trustworthiness. Trust and trust. So when you collect data, you must trust with yourself. Don't simply collect data. And sometimes examiner will find out the way you're writing a thesis, the way you're writing report, examiner will find out, and they will ask you why you do like that. So we find out that you're not trustworthy. In qualitative, we call credibility. In quantitative, we call validity. Normally you heard what is word, validity and reliability. So we do the crunch bus test. on validity of the survey. So whether the survey can be used or not. For second round, we do the pilot study. So in the pilot study, we found that some question have to remove. There's an error on the question and remove, and then we bring a new question to ask the respondent. Because when the respondent answer in pilot study, they don't understand. They feel like the result of pilot study very weird. Maybe the result is opposite or extreme. So we need to change the item in the questionnaire. That is for quantitative. So qualitative is credibility of data. You interview them, who is the person? Like I say, CEO of the company is a credible lah. Senior manager, credible. You go to the workplace and interview them. That's a credible. You take some photo in the tomorrow, like we are driving. We have a breakfast with the CEO. My RA will follow me. We will go to the site, the company site. We're going to have in the office. We take some video and this one, and then we will interview them in the morning and we brief them. So that is a credible. Conformability is a confirm the data. When you come back, you confirm the data, whether the data confirm with the theory and the data you collected in the field. And of course, dependability, you depend on the many method that you're using in the field work. And I think most of you know about generalization is usually used in quantitative lah. So meaning to say from population to sampling. So you select the sample, then you test the sample, and then finally you get the need. So in qualitative, like what I did for my PhD research, is actually transferability to another company. Like tomorrow we are doing the one company only for the doctorate thesis, only company A. So the company doing very well last 30 years, really good. But why the success story, sustainability of business can transfer into another company B, same type of company, also small, but they are struggling. They are having a problem, they cannot survive, but they can use the study that I mentioned, A, company A, which I told the doctorate thesis in one company. That's why transferability lah. This we call quality. So you must understand this terminology all right. So don't simply okay. So these are tips for Viva. Okay. So always get ready your PowerPoint, do your pre-Viva, answer with logical. It's all from my experience lah. And then make sure that you must have a very thorough literature review, RQ, RO, methodology, findings, discussion, conclusion with recommendation or implication. All must be. And of course, you pray and relax lah. We got. Okay, so I think you can screenshot this one. Everybody can do the screenshot or take photo. That's my email. So please email me if you want to know more on whatever we discuss or collaboration. So I think enough for today.